Welcome to the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast with host Jacqueline Burke. Today's special guest is Laurie Ouellette.
Welcome to the podcast, Laurie. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Uh, I'm doing well, and yourself?
Oh, good. Good, good. I'm
Good.
grateful you're back joining us today. Today we're
Yeah.
this episode is based on called Conversations With. And we
Okay.
love this episode because we get to dive into who Laurie was at 4 years
Oh gosh, at 4 years old.
old. Yeah.
Anna. My therapist is talking to me about that. Oh boy. Yeah, 4 years old. Well, I
So
was
who
living
inspired
on
you?
a farm. I was
Oh,
living on a
really?
farm in Piers, Alberta.
Oh, cool.
hmm For the first, I'd say, from when I was 4 until I was about 11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was living with my grandparents while my mom went to school here in Edmonton, and yeah, so that was a challenge. I mean, being that young and having to adapt to farm life
Yeah.
was different. That's to say the least.
You had a lot of
And
chores to do.
well, yeah, I guess. My grandmother was one of those ladies that was no nonsense and very abrupt and just told you how it was, like it was,
Yeah.
and usually told you things very graphically just to
Oh,
put the fear of God into you, like. So before my mom was even down the driveway, I was in a chair and she was cutting all my hair off because
oh
she was like,
no.
you can't have long hair on a working farm. So I looked like a boy for
Oh,
probably the first year I was there. But it was great because I love the animals. Like I'm a complete animal lover, and we had cattle and we had chickens and we had pigs, and
yeah.
by the time I think I was 7, I had a pony,
Oh, wow.
so yeah, I mean it was lovely. I mean, I have very fond memories of the farm. I have very scary memories of the farm, but
Yeah.
I have very fond memories of the farm and growing up. Um, but as far as my role models, like my goals, like when I was little, I wanted to be a teacher. That was my, yeah, I wanted to be a teacher. That was what I was going to do. And my mother is an accountant. So
Okay.
of course I kind of fluctuated between a teacher and an accountant because that's what my mom did, right?
Right.
But I have an aunt who was a teacher.
Oh, nice.
And so between the two of them, that's who I kind of looked up to and were my role models and who I kind of wanted to follow what they did,
Oh,
right?
neat.
Of course, once you hit university and you realize that, hmm,
Yeah.
it isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
And my first run in with a professor is what turned me off teaching.
Oh,
So,
really? Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Even though my aunt tried to convince me to come out to the University of Windsor because she was the professor, she was the department head of education at the University of Windsor. She wanted me to come there, and I was like, no, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. If I have to be a people pleaser to the point just to get anywhere in the teaching profession, forget it.
Yeah.
That's not who I am. I'm a trailblazer. I'm not a
Yeah.
I'm not a sheep or a follower, right? Like that's not who I am.
Yeah.
So, but I after that my conventional schooling just kind of went to the wayside. I've done everything in my life as based on practical experience.
Oh, that's good.
So, I mean, all of the accounting that I did, and I ended up going into the accounting field. All the accounting that I did, I learned all from just doing,
Oh,
right?
wow. Yeah.
And then I got headhunted when I was 45 to work in software,
Oh, you're
believe it or not.
kidding. Oh,
No. So that's what I do now. Now I kind of teach.
yeah.
I train people on a lot of our software products. So kind
Oh,
of
that's cool.
kind of came around full circle for me. So that's my day job.
Yeah. Your
That's my
day job.
full-time gig
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we all
until
have many
AI takes
gigs
over. Until AI takes over and I don't have that job anymore. But
now. Yeah. Excuse me.
But yeah,
So you wanted to be a teacher when you were a young little girl. So what changed like through that period of time? Because you,
well, like I said, like when I went to school, like high school and everything was, geared towards, I was an English major. So I was going to be an English teacher. That's what I wanted to do.
okay.
And when I got into high school, I had a great English teacher in high school. She was just fabulous. I loved her to bits. And so I kind of took my lead from that. But then when I went to the University of Calgary, like I said, I ran into a
That's,
professor that I just didn't agree with his opinion
yeah.
on a book that his colleague wrote.
Oh,
And I wrote a paper, and there was more red on that paper
oh,
from him than my actual paper because he
yeah.
just tore up my opinions. He thought that my opinions weren't
Oh,
valid. And opinions are just that. They're,
yeah.
your own personal reflection on what you've read. It's not, you know, I don't have to agree with what you say.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but apparently I did if
Oh,
I
okay.
wanted to pass his class. So it kind of ruined it for me. But
Yeah, that's
yeah.
all it takes sometimes, huh?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just one bad experience and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
that's
does. It really, really does. So, and I was taught, it's funny because, you think about when you're a kid, and you're taught that, teachers have authority and you should respect your teachers. You should respect anyone in authority,
right.
right?
Yep.
And as you become an adult, and you interact with teachers, because then you have kids, and then you're interacting with teachers that are teaching your kids and things like that. And I'll tell you, I had more run-ins with teachers with my children afterwards because it was like, and down in Airdrie, because my kids we lived in Airdrie for about 10 years.
Oh,
And my
wow.
kids went to school there. My children went to Ralph McCall and Our Lady Queen of Peace. Like my
Okay.
daughter went to Our Lady and my son went to Ralph McCall. And I'll tell you what, those Ralph McCall, I had a real run-in with everybody there.
Yeah.
It was quite the challenge. But, you know, teachers are people like us.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's true.
So,
I mean, at the time you think you can't be right because they're always right.
yes, yes,
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, we're all both human and with opinions.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. But as far as, changing my path, I think it just became out of practicality,
Okay.
you know, just
Yeah,
practicality. Like, your life just takes different turns as you take your journey, and the accounting side of things just kind of came naturally because I'm good with numbers.
yeah.
So it just kind of fit that niche, and that's why I went there, right? So yeah.
The Jeep.
Um yeah, from the gene pool, totally. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I just yeah, my experiences have been pretty broad. Like the other day I was thinking about that, about just my experiences over time, and all the different journeys that I've taken. And I've done a fair amount in my lifetime, that
Yeah,
in different careers, and wore so many different hats that yeah,
yeah,
it's funny that I landed where I am now.
yeah,
It's very funny that I've landed here.
yeah.
But yeah,
And you have a creative side to you.
very creative, yes.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you have your daytime job, but you also have a very nice side business.
Yes, I do. Yeah. That kind of came after COVID, and I had just bought my place that I live in now. After separating from my husband, I bought my own place, and I just thought, it might be nice to have something to kind of work on just as a pastime. And so I was making bracelets for my daughter, and then her friends wanted them, and then it just kind of expanded from there, where, a lot of even my friends were asking for stuff. And I did put my stuff in a few shops, consignment wise, but then every so often I just take a step back, and then I regroup, and then I go back into the fray, and then I take a step back. And the luxury of having the day job
Yeah.
right now allows me to have the hobby that I do,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't have to rely on that to
Right.
live.
Yeah.
So it allows me that freedom to be selective and to be, you know, say, you know what, I'm going to take a step back from that for now and
Yeah.
just work on something else, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That's cool. Yeah, your pieces are very nice. I really like them. I like the way they wrap.
yes,
You
yes.
know, you don't see
And I,
that too often.
no, you don't. It's a lot of people, it's because of the amount of beads it takes to put on
Yeah.
those. And
Yeah.
your beads are expensive, right? So
Yeah.
if you're putting the actual crystals on there, that the crystal beads, it can be a pricey venture. But I really like them because they hold their shape, no matter what you do to them.
Right.
So yeah, it's very nice.
Okay, so I want to go back and talk about your day job,
Hmm.
your career. What are the opportunities within that career?
Well, mine is pretty niche oriented where I am right now because the company that I work for, we build products that are add-ons for a Microsoft ERP platform.
Okay.
So there's opportunities within my company to learn more of our other
Yeah.
products, so that then I'm just that much more adaptable to be able to help our clients learn and support them with the other products. But um, I also have kind of moved into more into demoing our products too. So I
Okay.
do that like when our president is really swamped and he can't help a customer, then they pass off demos to me to do. And
Okay.
it's offered a bit of travel too. Like I've been able to go to some conferences and things like that,
Okay.
which is really great.
Yeah.
And meet a lot of interesting people that way. So
Yeah.
yeah, as far as opportunity goes, there's been a lot of opportunity for me.
Oh,
I've
great.
thoroughly
Yeah.
enjoyed it, and I absolutely love my job. So
Oh, great. Well, you don't hear that
yeah,
often from people.
no, I know, I know you
That's
don't.
wonderful.
Yeah, and the
Oh,
people that I work with are amazing.
yeah.
So
Oh, that's
yeah,
wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, you really rarely hear that they love
no,
the,
I know
yeah. Well, that's good. That's something to be very grateful for.
it is
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm grateful every day for that. Trust me.
Yeah. So what sparked your interest within your like working with software?
Well, like I said, I got headhunted, and it was completely by accident. And
Oh, so
the
it just,
reason for it was because I have worked in the accounting in the doing accounting, and I've worked in a lot of different industries. I've
yeah.
worked up on site with an oil and gas company. I've worked with, lots of different industries. And I've done ERP implementations with three different softwares
Oh, wow.
in my tenure with working doing accounting.
Uh-huh.
And the person that reached out to me saw that and thought, you seem to kind of just leave a job after 2 years. So what's going on there? And I basically said, well, I get bored. Like I get into these positions, I walk in there, I help them implement their new ERP, I put controls in place, and I get their departments running perfectly. Like I was almost like a fixer, like I'd go in and fix a accounts receivable department or an accounts payable department and get all the controls in place. And then of course it's running smoothly and it's like, okay, well, there's nothing left for me to do. So I
Yeah.
just get bored. And, he says, well, I've got the job for you.
No.
And he says, and you'll never get bored. And he's right. I've been here 7 years
Oh,
and
wow.
I've not left. And that's probably the longest I've been at a position.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
fantastic. Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Oh, I would have dreamt for a job that I could have stayed, longer than that. But yeah,
yeah.
what it is, like there's a lot of turnover, and I guess the last 10 or 20 years, you saw a lot of turnover in jobs. And it kind of
Hmm.
became a thing,
Yes,
you know. But then you got to go with how the world's changing too, right? So,
absolutely.
yeah. Oh, that's great. I'm so happy for you that
Thanks. I
yeah,
love it.
you're happy and that's fantastic. Um, so what is the best advice you've received in your career?
To not take things so personally. That's the
Yeah.
biggest one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big one, and it's a big one to overcome. I think it comes with age,
Yeah.
and
It,
experience, like to not take things so personally. Somebody could be just having a bad day and you just happen to be in the crossfire.
yeah.
But yeah, age and wisdom helps you to kind
Yeah.
of eventually live by that rule. But yes, that's probably the best advice I've ever gotten.
Right on. Yeah, that's good. That's
Hmm.
good advice. Don't take things so, don't take it seriously or, it's easy to get offended these
Personally,
days, right?
it's
Yeah.
never a personal attack on you,
Right.
right? Like someone could be just venting, and
Yeah.
it's not a personal attack on you. And that's the big one, like
Yeah.
don't always assume that they're attacking you. It could be just anything. It could be just they're having a bad day, or they're having just a bad situation and you don't know. You just happen, like I said, to be in the crossfire.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't know someone's story, right? Like, or what's happened in their personal life that could make them that way. Um,
Absolutely.
it's in the moment, it's hard to remind yourself of that, like everyone has done that.
Hmm.
But, sometimes if you just kind of just take that moment just to think, I wonder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to ask you like this is a major question, okay?
Okay.
So, how do you find balance between your personal life, your hobbies, and your career? Like, how do you do
Well, there are days that I don't,
it?
you know. There are days that I don't. I don't balance it very well. And there's days that I'll finish work and I literally curl up on the couch with my cats and that's it. That's as much as I get.
Yeah,
But I see that as a personal accomplishment too, and that I'm seeing it as, okay, today this is what I can get done.
yeah,
And having the grace to say to yourself, you can only do what you can do, and it'll still be there tomorrow.
yeah,
So, hobby wise, that comes in spurts. Like I'll get the drive to create, and I'll sit for hours and just create bracelets.
yeah,
And then I'll put them aside for a few days
yeah,
because then I'm like, okay, I've done all that. Now I need to just, take a break from it. But creating bracelets is very addictive because for
yeah,
me, it's not only just create the creation, it's working with the crystals too, because it just gives you such a boost dealing and handling all of the energy that comes with them. So it's almost addictive. So there's times when I really do have to walk away from it. But as far as juggling it all, I just can. All I do is what I can do,
yeah,
and I don't. I really, really have learned to not. I'm learning, I should say, to not lay pressure on myself and not to be so hard on myself if I don't get something done
yeah.
because it'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the best advice I received actually, like in the last 20 years, was
Hmm.
what doesn't get done today will get done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, it took the panic away of thinking I had
Immediately. Yeah.
everything done. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. You no
that's
longer
awesome.
have that feeling in the pit of your stomach of, oh my God, I'm
Yeah,
not going to get this done. Well, it's still going to be there tomorrow.
yeah,
It's not going anywhere.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so now with everything you've gone through, like in your life, since
Mhm.
you're a little girl on up to now, what advice would you give your younger 4-year-old Lori?
Oh, I would immediately hug that little 4-year-old Lori and say, your mama still loves you.
Yeah. Aw.
She's just not able to take care of you right now.
Yeah. Aw, how sweet.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Aw.
But yeah, and to just forgive.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
forgiveness
there's
is
times when you need to forgive. You don't always have to forget, but you need to forgive.
right. Yeah, that's a big one.
It is.
Yeah. Aw. Yeah, we all need to hug our little inner child, don't we?
Yes, we sure do
Yeah.
because that inner child just feels that hurt for so long, and you can,
Right.
you carry that with you through the whole span of your life, and until you stop and actually take care of that little inner child, you're going to constantly be running the loop of doing the same things over and over again.
Yeah. One thing I heard the other day too was like because I often think of myself in the past, but
Yeah.
it's like she's still with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like she is still with me. Like I did not leave her back there, you know.
No, you've just become a different version of that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So amazing. Yeah, so
it
like
is.
embracing who we are then, now, and tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
it's so important. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So, as you know, we give gratitude every episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you grateful for with regards to like your career and your life that you've been through?
Oh, I'm so grateful for all of it because I wouldn't be where I am today without it.
Yeah,
I'm grateful for all the ups and downs and all the lessons I've learned
yeah,
because they are lessons.
yeah.
And I'm forever grateful for the job I have because it just allows me so much flexibility. I can even work from wherever I am. Like I can work
Oh,
from
great.
Mexico. I did that in February. I was gone for the whole month of February. I was in Mexico working.
That's nice.
So, yeah, it is. It's very nice.
Oh my.
So, I don't go to the office. My office is upstairs in my home. I work from home.
Oh, nice.
So, that's what's so lovely. I have that flexibility. So, yeah, I am grateful every day for my job and for all the lessons that I've learned in life.
Oh, that's nice. Um, how would you encourage someone to find gratitude, Lori, when if they're struggling?
To stop and look around,
Yeah.
just stop and be present in the moment and find that one thing. It could just be, I'm grateful my pen has ink.
Yeah,
It could be, I have a cup of water in front of me,
right.
whatever that is, but just to stop and be present in that moment and be grateful for what you have right there.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, we never really take the time during the day to say you're grateful for, the water or,
Mm-hmm.
a pen or paper to put in the printer. You know what I mean? Like anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. Those are things we often take for granted that we
Mm-hmm.
don't think about during the day, you know.
No, that's right. Yeah.
But when
And
you
I
think,
think I think a lot of us don't even take that moment just to even be present in that moment, like to
yeah,
just stop and just look around and go, wow, look at what I have or look at where I am,
yeah,
Like that's a tough one. And I've been doing that more and more because I really, really feel the gratitude that I am where I am and that I have what I have in my life.
yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you kindly. Um, yeah, I just have one more question, sorry.
Okay.
Um, so what advice would you give to like your daughter, okay, who, sees you doing what you're doing and, wants to maybe follow in your footsteps?
Oh gosh, I hope not.
Yeah.
Um, my daughter and I have been on an amazing journey together, and she is very stubborn and very, very. She's a Taurus. Does
Okay.
that kind of answer that question? Um, she has taught me a lot in how to react and how to not react
Wow.
to situations. And my advice to her has always been and will always be do what makes you happy.
Oh,
You may not be doing what is making you happy right now, but you will. And when you find it, just latch onto it and just do what makes you happy.
yeah, that's wonderful. That's a good note to end this because you know what? Everyone needs to hear that. Do what makes you happy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything you've learned in life, do what makes you happy, what's in your heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Laurie. I really appreciate you being here again with me.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You have a good day.
Thank you for joining us at the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast.